find me complaining.
We're very happy to have located you from your underground settlement.
Off-grid! Totally off-grid!
We wanted to ask you about that terrible story.
Pretty bad. What a fucking fake trip that was.
What happened exactly?
Well, my dad had passed away, so I came back to...
I'm very sorry.
That's all right. I came back to Marin County, and I was getting massaged by a no happy ending, straight massage.
Did you pay for this massage?
Of course. I was being massaged in Marin County, which is what they do here.
Did you pay with money?
I did. I paid with money and friendship. And the masseuse said, would you like, because she knew I was, going through a transitional time, would you like to come with me to Burning Man? And I said, absolutely.
So you willingly got into a car with a stranger who had
a van. I got into a van. Even worse, I got into a van.
With a masseuse?
With a masseuse. Yeah. So it's a log hippie hair. Like, looks like a vague, like a femmer version of Squeaky Fromm.
Do you think that this was a good decision?
Yeah. Except at the time I didn't. So we're driving to Sacramento, and she says, I have 15,000 hits of acid.
What?
And I said, really? I said, I'm an educator. I can't be involved in anything like that. That's trafficking. I can't do federal time. So I said, she said, don't worry, I'm going to do a drug deal before we get to the play. I said, oh, you'll only have 8,000 hits of acid, 8,500. She said, yes, but it's much more dealable. I said, oh my God. I said, I started to go into severe panic, agita. And I said, please, drop me at the Starbucks. And you know what she said to me? She said, you're freaking me out with your negative hippie shit. You're attracting negativity. Now you're attracting the cops. I said, no, 15,000 hits of acid's attracting the cops. And you telling me about me, you telling me this is attracting only agita to my gut. I was just pissed that I didn't know if this woman was being followed. I had no idea. If she's part of a family that's making acid. I mean, she looks like Squeaky Fromm. She could be part of the Manson family. I have no idea. And at that point, I realized I was through the looking glass, and it was time to get a cappuccino. So I jumped out, and she did the drug deal. Thank God, my negativity. That's the first hippie shaming I received in California. Was that my negativity is attracting the cops? Okay. And I was the one being negative after that. As I'm looking at, a 10-year federal jail time in the end of my teaching career. I mean, come on. So I'm hippie shamed for being negative. I mean, that's the beginning of the end for me.
Were you shouting in her front seat?
No, I said, can you please drop me at a Starbucks? And I didn't know you that much acid on you. So, yeah, thanks for telling me.
Do you think anyone would be nervous in that situation?
I think anyone with half a brain would be nervous in that situation. That's 10 years at least in a federal bed.
Did you Google it while you were in the car?
No, because I didn't want to send myself into a cardiac arrest. I jumped into Starbucks, she did the deal, and then we rolled into Burning Man with the rest of the acid. And like pure Hunter S. Thompson, I'm like, okay, give it to God. Here's the hippie, rolling with the hippie chick. She's innocuous looking, perfect trafficker. So I'm like, all right, rolling with the long-haired, Squeaky Fromm, dancing unicorn. Here we go. And straight into the mothership we arrived. We ended up in this camp that was dedicated to women's menstrual blood. Not blackface, redface. And it was white people doing American Indian magic. I should have known right then I was in for trouble. But I thought it was California and kooky and cute. I liked it at the time. I learned later that they were counter-espionage and complete fuckers and undermined the American Indian movement and lied to me. But at the time,
they had infiltrated the American Indian movement?
They created a dome, and they found out who the leaders were, and then they paid them off. And I put food on that bus that went in undermining the Indians. I am a complete idiot.
Did they resemble Indians?
No, they one did. One guy actually got super tan and started wearing like a total Indian drag, and they were like, that guy's... I started seeing Facebook posts from Indians saying, that guy's not even Indian. They've come in and they're not even Indian. And they're disrupting the meetings. They're doing... the women were dressed super provocatively, hypersexual. The men were provoking. It was all counter-espionage. Well, in the context of North Dakota, in the middle of the freezing cold, if you're wearing leg warmers and a titty bra, you're working for somebody that's not God and not the climate and not the Weather Channel. You're there for counter-espionage, and they were. They paid them off $3 million. But at the time, these were my friends. This was 5 years prior to that incident, and I was like, wow, white people seem to have really want to get spiritual. That's kind of beautiful. I mean, I was a sucker, and like everybody else at Burning Man, you go there for the experience, and you think it's all cool, and then you realize later it's not so cool. So
not so cool.
So The premise was they had a red tent, and I'd already read about that, and they were like women goddesses in the red tent, and the premise was, and the males had built the camp, which I loved, and the premise was if women bleed on the ground, men will stop having to go to war.
So women were
Menstruating.
laying their genitals directly on the earth.
Yeah, correct, bleeding into the playa. And then the men built an
and men
altar.
supported this somehow.
They built it to make it happen. They built this for the women to do that with the premise of anti-war. Which got me.
How did the women compel the men to do this? Did they pay the men?
No. The guys. It came about between the men and the women. They out of Topanga. This was like the cool part of.
Well, were the men and women both already on the acid that was in the car?
No. This was. I went to their camp. We brought the acid to their camp. They had already built this before we showed up with the drugs.
So you showed up with the acid?
Yes, with this crazy woman.
You eventually became a mule for the acid?
No, I wasn't a mule. I was an unwitting kidnap victim. An unwitting castaway who hitched a ride on a galaxy far, far away. Having no idea. I thought it was cool, having no idea.
Did she have you in zip ties, or did she have a knife in her bowler bag?
No, I didn't even see the acid. It all disappeared as soon as we got to camp with all those fucking menstruating hippies. They gobbled it up like black mold. So I thought they were cool. I hung out with these people for 5 years in L.A. I went to their parties for 5 years, and then I believed that they were going to help the Indians in North Dakota, and it turned out they were actually counter-espionage and undermined the Indians. And the first week that Trump was in office is why there was no blood on Trump's hands. He turned off the phones, and my idiot fake friends paid through PayPal $3 million to the tribal leader. And he turned out the sacred fire, and everybody went home and didn't get shot. So it wasn't a big problem for Trump.
Ugh.
They waited for Obama to leave office. Obama didn't want it on his hands, and then my ridiculous fake hippie friends undermined it.
And progress was had in North Dakota.
Yeah, everyone came back poisoning people. You can't come back with that. One guy came back, the one who was pretending to be American Indian, with throat cancer, because you can't speak a lie and kill people and generations of people and think you're going to get away with it. So yeah, he came up with throat cancer. So
do you believe that God gave him throat cancer?
I believe absolutely. That the fucking buffalo gave it to him.
Or perhaps the CIA drugs.
No, he was the CIA.
Well, yes, but that doesn't mean that we don't use our own chemicals on our own people.
To kill off the.
So he may have just been collateral damage.
Who knows? You got a simulacra of a simulacra of a simulacra. It's terrifying.
Have you ever given anyone a name on the Burning Man playa, as they say?
No. I got a name. It's terrible.
Do you want to talk about it?
Gentle Fist was the name given to me by my ex-boyfriend. I don't think I'm anything gentle about the fist.
I don't think
terrible.
We can support listening to the story about why you got that nickname. But we would like to
I don't even know why I got it. He just said that to me.
Were you prosecuted for the acid at the playa?
Thank God, no. It all dispersed, and I was free to go as an educator and a humanitarian. The only issue was that I got sucked into these idiots and thought they were all legit. And I was at their parties for 5 years, watching dark things happen around me, and not really sure what was happening. I just thought they were bad actors and yoga idiots.
Actors.
Yeah, I thought because it was in L.A. I just assumed everyone moved there because they thought they were good at the school play and they were going to try to get a headshot together. I just assumed that's what was happening.
I didn't realize people were young, good looking, and not terribly intelligent.
Correct. I didn't realize they had actually been recruited by the U.S.
I'm going to ask you a very painful question right now.
Yes.
You are known throughout the underground for your sexual drive.
Thank you.
Would you say that this is what led you to join such a young commune of perverts?
Well, I didn't actually touch the CIA. They creeped me out. The times that all they would do would talk about group sex. They're obsessed with it. So the time I'm like, all right, fools, go down. The time that I tried to light it off for these idiots, they all ended up just like smacking each other and getting into fistfights.
But they like that.
No, it was sick. They couldn't. All the talk of sex, there was no sex for these perverts.
Did they speak of it as tournante? Tournante, tournante.
I don't know what that means.
That's actually the name for what they were doing.
I don't know what that means.
I do.
Well, it was a nightmare regardless. No, they were all fake. And I realize now, I mean, it takes a long time as a normal person who is in school in espionage to figure out the behavior of people over a long period of time. I just assume they're stupid. and bad actors. That's what I assumed. I didn't realize that they were actually operatives. And they told me.
What led you to believe that they were operatives?
Well, the fact that they undermined the American Indian movement, that's one. The fact that my friend then recruited me for domestic Mossad, and I refused, that's two. The fact that he outed himself and told me he was domestic Mossad, that's three. So that's all true stories. Wish it wasn't.
Is there one thing that you'd like to say to inspire hope for your fans in the underground?
Don't go to Burning Man. They're all a bunch of fucking CIA undercover bullshit. It's not real. It never was a real party. Never was. There is no Baker's Beach burnings. There never were parties on Baker's Beach. Everything they're trying to say that happened, Moon Tribe and all the fake history, they're now constructing to make it look like this actually was a real organic event that happened, is all fake history.
We thank you for your time and the danger that you've encountered.
Thank you.